What if your story could ignite a movement? At New Solutions Network, we merge truth, resilience, and reinvention, fueling shows that cut past the noise and light up what really matters: human potential. Police, athletes, survivors, incarcerated folks, visionaries, we bring raw, real voices the world needs to hear. Want to share your story? Want to sponsor change? Now is the time. New Solutions Network, unlocking the future, one voice at a time.
All right, welcome back for another exciting show of Organized Minds. I'm Mike D.
I'm Mike P.
You know, Mike, today's a little bit of a somber note.
Yes.
We're all in here. We've done a couple of shows today just to be clear with the people. We've done a few shows, and now we're taking time to reflect on what took place this week. When you say this week, September 10th, we lost a true patriot.
Yes, and let's call it what it is, a political assassination
Of
Charlie Kirk.
where were you when you first?
I was actually home. I was doing some work on a computer, and I think something came across the TV, and I put the channel on, and within like half hour, it actually showed that disgusting video of him getting shot. And at first I said, is that real or is it an AI? Because the amount of
This is what we go
and
through.
it's awful that his wife had to see that, and his kids will probably see it one day.
Yeah, well, his kids were there, but they were too
They were too young,
to
but
actually
it's
recognize what
awful.
was going on. But yeah, I was in my apartment, which I've been there for years. It was a house that I used to own, and then the apartment I took possession of as we split the house up a little bit. But I was in my apartment when I heard about it, and I was just like, it's almost like no, it's not. What's fair? It's not supposed to happen.
No, number one, it's not supposed to happen. Number two is that, it's disgusting. And then the aftermath, what's even more disgusting and more aggravating, is the people that celebrated his death. I think it's despicable, Like, we have disagreements with people a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have big disagreements with guys like Al Sharpton, Farrakhan. I would never wish them death or wish that kids see them get killed like that. It's disgusting. And if you do that, you know what? If you're going to do stuff like that, don't follow me. Don't watch the show. I don't really care. I'm not interested in it.
Yeah, my first reaction was like, how can this happen again? Like, they tried to kill Trump, and then they tried to kill him again. So I go back to this. There's an underlying current in this country and world that makes it okay to do this. You cannot make that plan to do this unless it's okay. So what does that mean? For me, it means that this person who had this thought and put this plan together, whether he's by himself or not, I don't really care right at this minute. We can get into that. But there's an environment that fosters that response, because you don't agree with me. You've been given the permission by a segment of society to go ahead and kill me. And how does that begin?
It begins, you got to go all the way back. Let's go back to when some of these people are kids and children. They're not told no, right? Wouldn't you fear your parents like I fear them, right? Okay.
Daddy's coming home.
This Charlie Kirk assassination did not start on that day, whatever it was, a Tuesday,
September
whatever.
10th.
September 10th. It didn't start September 10th. This started back 30 years ago. This started back with the little things. You ever hear, give me an inch to take a yard? Right. It started back with, as you're a kid, oh, it's okay. It's all right. Let them do that. Oh, let's do this. It's okay. It's okay to me to get in a cop's face and yell at him.
No
it's
discipline.
okay.
No discipline.
Pick my hands up to my parents. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay generation.
It's his way of expressing
It's his way of
himself?
expressing himself. It's okay to do this. It's okay to do that.
He's just a child.
Right.
He's just a child.
Now your child is on a rooftop 200 yards away with a rifle going to kill somebody.
So yes, I could see behavioral modifications or lack of discipline in a family, but that didn't lead to political assassinations normally. Now,
Right.
maybe that person was used to getting their way, and that's maybe the person that's groomed to do that. But I agree with you that there's a certain, so if he, and by all accounts, by the way, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this person that did this was not raised he was raised with no's. From what I understand, his father was a strict guy. He was a strict guy. He was a sheriff. He raised his kid.
Was he a sheriff? He worked in the department.
I don't know. I think he was a sheriff, and I think his mother was also in law enforcement. I could be wrong. I don't know, but he was not raised. He was not raised where everything was okay, from my understanding.
But at some point, something turned.
So, which is the larger picture here, why I'm going to go into this. When you start calling people Nazis, and you start calling people racists because you don't agree with them. My best friend, and I don't talk about this very often, when I was in elementary school, his name was Robin Love. Robin Love was one of 13. He's a black kid. Back in my day, we had to ask permission to have your friend over the house if he was black. Believe it or not, that's how it was. It was like the proper thing to do. So we had to ask permission of each other's families. Not each other as child, but as family members. They would have to ask each other, do you mind if my son goes over your house and plays with your son? Because they were black. And of course, my parents didn't care. He was my son's friend. But so when they start calling people racists, it dehumanizes them and it enables others to justify bad behavior towards them. You don't, because I don't agree with you doesn't mean that I'm racist. It's just I just don't agree with you. It doesn't mean I'm a Nazi.
The term is thrown around very loosely these days, racist.
Yeah,
very
yes,
loosely.
but Mike, you're right. It's too loose, but it's more than that. It's sent out as a call sign to people out there. It's been done, and I'll tell you, if you remember this specifically, and it almost was eerie one day. I heard a politician, I could say Minnesota or Michigan, and she said, "You all know what to do.
Goes on a lot. You got the governor.
You all know what to do,"
Yeah.
she said. And I was instantly, I don't know if you remember the moment. It was right around the Trump assassination attempt, the first one. You all know what to do. And it was like, it's like the signal was sent. Go get them. Listen, I say these words very measured because I'm not a insider. I could go down a rabbit hole with anybody else, and I can purposely send a little messages out to rile people up. But when I talk about this subject matter, I'm being specific and to a point. She said, "You all know what to do." I'm making my call out, is what she said. You all know what to do. Like what? So I 100% know she doesn't have a group of people that she's communicating with. She's communicating with society, saying, you all know. So that loose cannon in that crowd, there's 1,000 people, but one of those 1,000 people is willing to do anything for either attention, respect, or notoriety. Whatever
All three.
All three. Maybe even thinking that somebody's going to make a movie about his life and that he's going to matter or she's going to matter. And that's what's been going on. And I don't call these things out lightly, Mike, because I'm a proponent of free speech. We speak for a living. You know, we speak for entertainment. We speak to communicate. We want people to understand us. There's only one way for them to understand us. And they don't understand us at the end of a barrel. They understand us at the end of our tongue. And that's what I try to espouse. And that's why we have podcasters today. Because we, as podcasters, get to share our own thoughts with the world, right? And you can't see hate in a guy like me. You might not like what I say, but you can't hate me because I will sit down with anybody.
Right. We'll sit down with anybody and talk it out. You know, I mean, you know, the assassination of him, and I won't even say the guy's name that assassinated him. We'll say the name coward.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to, let's not give him any more attention than what he thought he'd get from this. Because we'll say the word coward. That's it for him. Just to do that, you know, to take somebody's life like that, it's a coward move. You know, I have more respect for somebody to fight somebody straight on.
Yeah.
You know, so
Mike, you call him a coward, and I agree with you. But to me, he's been trained or indoctrinated. They use that word today.
well, you could train anybody to do anything.
Right.
Like you train a dog. So of course you train doesn't make you special. Let's say that. Number one, you got to train my dog.
But
so
he
can sit on the toilet.
felt safe doing it.
He didn't even think of it, the consequence of it. You see the way he came off that roof?
He
See the way
jumped.
but it was so fluid. That was practice. That was all.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
no.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
That
agree.
was all
I agree that he
practice.
practiced this.
Could you get off the roof like that? Let's say if you were 20. I still wouldn't be able to come off the roof that while I was
I
90 or 20.
I would have
But
I would have hung down longer and further and stretched my toes.
Yeah,
And because
this
I've
guy
jumped
came
off
off there too
I've
close.
jumped off a
Yeah.
few roofs in my career, right? But
So.
not because I wanted to, but because it's necessary. You know, as a dare or something like that.
Yeah.
Can you do it? Or you practice something? I've
Right.
done it, but
Yeah.
but
So getting back to it, what the political thing, Democrat, Republican, and listen, both sides are screwed up to begin with. Today, everybody's got their faults, but some of these people, like our governor and all, talks wild. So she's endorsing this. We know who.
communist.
Who I really truly believe, and I'm not an insider either, but if this guy does get into New York City, I mean, you could be the start of a civil war, especially if he wants to put the National Guard in there, Trump. You have the police department. It's going to be a mess. So, and, I mean, he's getting a lot of endorsements. I've heard, I'm not going to say from who, but I've heard he's got a lot of endorsements from a lot of rabbis, which I'm shocked that were hugging him, taking pictures with him, smiling. So maybe they need to be called out because I cannot believe that. And if he gets their support,
That's a million
No.
votes.
they own a lot of property in New York City, and what they think is going to happen is not going to happen.
No, it's not.
No.
No, we've been okey doked before. Not
Yeah,
me personally.
this is a
'cause
real okey-doke.
Yeah. What has Biden said? I'm not going to cut off the Keystone Pipeline. What did he do his first day? He cut off the Keystone Pipeline. I mean, these people don't care. They'll say anything to get to the position they got to be in. And they were trained by the best, between Clinton and Obama and even Bush. Say what you got to say to get into office. Once you get there, do what you want. But I mean, listen, this is all about celebrating the life of Charlie Kirk.
Yes.
Some of the things that because now we go back and we pay attention to the things he has said. In the beginning, he was a little bit of a white noise in my room. I would put on Real America's Voice. It was one of the things I watched religiously. One, because it was free on streaming. Okay, I didn't have to pay the cable bill, and two, because a lot of the things that they say on there were the things that everybody else wasn't saying. And I'm like, why are these people saying this and no one else is saying it? Well, because my belief is that they're trying to get to the heart of the matter, and they have a little more time to do so than these, Live at 5 and all these different shows out there. They're all commercially produced, and they're looking for the biggest impact for the shortest amount of investment. Okay, so they want to sensationalize and or banter, but they don't have the time to dig deep into subjects. But when I would watch Real America's Voice, which, by the way, people would think I'm crazy, but it wasn't that I watched them because of the personalities. I watched them because the depth of the content that they would get into, and I would learn about the investigations that were actually taking place, and or that they weren't paying attention to in the mainstream media, but they're actually taking place. And then 3 months later, the mainstream media is talking about what they were talking about 3 months earlier. I already knew, and people think I'm crazy. They go, "This guy's a whack job." Okay, well, I'm just telling you.
A little wacky, but
Yeah, but still wide. But I'm good in a good way. Yeah. But to Charlie Kirk's, I would listen to him every day. But not. I would be honest with you. 3 o'clock, as Ryan knows, don't call me around 3 o'clock. It's my nap time. All right. So, but I would fall asleep to Charlie Kirk because he's on, I think, between 12 and 4. I could be wrong about the exact times. But right around 12 and 1 and 2, Charlie Kirk would come on. I think it's 12 o'clock, and I'd be ready for my nap right in the middle or the end of his show. And I didn't always listen to Charlie, but he was always on. He was a voice because he was reasonable. He wasn't a soft touch. He was a reasonable guy, willing to listen, and I enjoyed his banter. And
he had a very witty way of coming back with stuff. Very intelligent way of debating.
yeah,
So I mean,
it freed others.
and people don't like that.
Yeah,
People rather you be like, well, I don't like. They'll tell you, I don't like. Well, screw you. You're a
They'd
pig-head
rather
weirdo.
argue.
People don't like that. People like that better. When you go at somebody with fact, they don't like that.
they don't like it.
Then all of a sudden they want to resort to violence.
Right. They rather yell and scream
Right.
back and forth.
Right. They
Say,
like
you're
to yell
a
and
fool, you're
scream.
ugly, you're
Yeah.
stupid, rather than say, you know what, he's right. I've actually listened to several shows now back from him. You'll see clips come out where they'll say, why are you calling this guy a racist? And they'll show a debate with a black guy or a Spanish guy or an Italian guy or a Jewish guy or a pink-haired, lesbian or trans guy, and you see the debate. And you're like, well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, how could you leave that debate even being angry with the guy? You might not still agree with his position, but at least he was logical and based it not on emotion.
Do you remember? And it just popped into my mind. You remember the fight? Do you remember the Morton Downey Jr.? Was it
Of course I remember Morton Downey Jr.
Was it Morton Downey Jr. or was it Geraldo Rivera? Do you remember when
And then Morton Downey
It was
Jr.
Roy Innes and Sharpton.
Yes.
Sat down, and Roy Innes clocked Sharpton and knocked the back chair when Sharpton was
I
happy.
loved him.
What was it? Was
I
it
loved him.
Geraldo
Yeah,
or was it
probably-
Morton Downey?
I
It was
don't
one of
remember.
them.
It's
But I
probably
think
Geraldo.
it was.
I don't think Morton Downey would
But
have.
that was you saw violence like that.
Yes.
Not going to the top of somewhere.
sitting up
shooting.
there, waiting.
But that was really, he knocked him. Remember that? He knocked him all the way back
right
in
in
the
a
chair.
chair or something like that. That was,
Oh.
How old were you? You were a teenager,
Maybe
probably.
10 or 11.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Sharpton
yeah.
had that hair, and
Yeah.
I remember his chair flew up.
He was fat.
And Geraldo got hit in the nose. He broke his nose or something. There was some wild shit going on. That was back then.
Like a
That's
Jerry
how-
Springer show.
that's
Like
how
a
it
Jerry
got.
Springer show. Yeah, I
That's
think
about
Jerry
as wild
Springer
as it got.
sprung off of that one. But anyway, I think we were having a little laughs here, and of course, the solemn subject matter is Charlie Kirk being executed in front of his wife and 3,000 students, and probably what?
The world.
Probably, I would say 20, 30 million people were watching that show at the time, if you think about it. I mean, I'm not sure how this, but his streaming subscriptions were at 3-4 million at the time. And they, by the way, they've gone to 10 million or 12 million since then.
You know, I remember back as a kid, you'd watch other countries, and they'd be like, "Oh my God!" It'd be on the 5 o'clock news. They shot this leader today.
Yes.
There was
Right in the middle of
there was
Parliament.
violence in the politicians fighting with each other. This guy was there, and they would be like, "Wow, that would never happen in this country.
Yeah.
This would never happen in the United States. These people are animals. Look at Somalia, what they're doing. Look at here, what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's happening right in our backyard.
Yeah. So when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, the floor of Congress in the United States went ahead and said, "We'd like to." Someone said, Marjorie Taylor, or one of them said, "I'd like to have a moment of silence to celebrate Charlie's death, whatever, assassination." And in the background,
Not celebrate.
well,
Yeah.
commemorate. And in the background, you heard Marjorie Taylor Greene, Crockett, AOC, and a half a dozen others screaming, "No, no!" You heard their specific voices screaming, "No, no, no!" on the floor of Congress. So they weren't even willing to acknowledge that this person's death was in vain or
Now,
catastrophic.
let me ask you a question.
But
Mike.
that's disgusting.
Let me ask you something. What do you think? You know the George Floyd thing that happened? Yeah. What do you think if members of Congress, they wanted to take a moment for George Floyd, and some members of Congress yelled out, "No, no, no, hell no, he's a criminal," or this? What do you think would have happened then? The other side did.
Oh, it would have been
Right.
They would have been removed from Congress or expelled from Congress or censored in Congress, and probably if they ran for re-election, they probably would have been terminated. They would have lost their re-election. Yeah. And you know, I'm not here to debate George Floyd's.
No, we're not
thing
here to
right
debate
now.
that. Well, nobody deserves to die.
Yeah.
So we'll put that
Yeah,
right
I mean,
out there. And I'm not
and
getting
did he
into-
kill himself? Did he not kill
Yeah, I'm
himself?
not getting into none of that. I'm
this
just
is-
saying.
No, but I get it. Yeah,
you know,
I get
both ends.
the juxtaposition. Yeah. You can scream no. I don't want to acknowledge the passing of an historic figure. Man was he's now moved hundreds of millions of people. He's now there's 100 plus million Charlie Kirks out there right now because of his death. They didn't shut him down.
No, they made him stronger.
They amplified Charlie's message beyond. I mean, the whole country. You know what annoys me, ladies and gentlemen, is fake news. Okay, more than anything else, because when you're lied to, and you see, they've learned this. Lie, repeat the lie 3 times, and it becomes a fact or an admissible set of evidence. That's what they have done. So they lie, and now all of a sudden go, "It must be true. I heard it 3 times."
That's like the rumors in the police department, right?
Exactly.
You hear a guy, tells to one guy, tells to another guy, the story gets bigger.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you hit down, did this.
Yeah.
Well, he was really doing it.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
that was
I'm
different.
just saying.
They're not
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
The point is yes. So they've learned that doing that is the way to do it, and now it's just that's the way of the world today. And the fact is that it's no closer to the truth than the original lie. But of course, it becomes facts. People base their opinions on that. But that's the fake news today, and that's what they're doing. And the real news is that there was 3 to 4 million people marching in London, holding and chanting USA and Charlie Kirk. And you know what the fake news said was? 100,000.
There was a big celebration.
That's hold on, Mike.
Too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But Mike, 100,000. Why did they intentionally lower it? Not by 10-fold, by 30-fold, right? If you had 100,000 times 30 is 3 million. They lowered by 30-fold the number of people there because they don't want people to believe that the impact of Charlie Kirk's death was that serious. And ladies and gentlemen, it was. I still am. Of course, it's only fresh, but I'm still trying to learn how to deal with the aftermath. I mean, I find myself crying, you know, to the trauma. You know, I think the nation collectively is going to have PTSD from what's happened to Charlie, and people are no longer going to be as they're not going to handle things as nicely as Charlie's handled it. I just have a feeling it's going to be a little different now.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, our security is going to be definitely stepped up by anybody who has a platform. You have to be very careful, and I'm sure it'll censor some people. Some people will be censored because they'll be afraid to speak their mind, which is terrible.
So you think there's going to be less free speech now?
I think people are going to think twice before they say things, and I think that's horrible.
Are you?
You shouldn't. No, this is how I live. You know, my whole career.
I mean, we
and
could
how
get
I
shot
was.
walking out of this studio right now. You know that, right? I mean, technically, this could be some crazy person out there that doesn't want us to speak our mind. I mean, I've been threatened. You know, people threaten me. You should take it. You should get anal cancer. You should die. You should have no reason to speak. They should take the microphone away from you. Who are you to get such a platform? I developed a platform. I didn't do this. I mean, I did this on my own. You can turn a channel or not. Just like with Charlie. If you didn't like what Charlie had to say, turn the channel.
Yeah, just turn the channel. I mean, you know, it's just, you know, it's a tragedy. Tragedy that should never happen. But it happened, so now from there we have to go and, you know, hopefully move on. And I believe, you know, his wife will carry the torch, and I believe his children will one day.
What did you think of her? Did you listen to her speak?
I listened to some of the speech, yeah.
And what connection or what
She's well spoken, you know, and you know, obviously she probably, you know, I those speeches, you know, she lost a husband. Those speeches she probably had help writing, and nothing against her, but the after fact for her and her trauma is going to come when, you know, people forget very quickly. When she's home alone with the kids, when it's late night, that's when this is going to hit her. That's why I feel bad. It's not going to hit her. Now everybody's around her.
Yeah,
right? People have short memories. Yeah. When she's alone with the kids, you know, it's Christmas time.
like when you were going for your kid,
you know, yeah, it's a time, you know, people don't realize it. It's when you're alone. She's going to feel it, and I feel for those kids so much, and hopefully the country even gets behind it.
Yeah, when I listened to her speak, you know, it's funny because I listened to her speak initially, and I was almost upset for her because I didn't want her to speak yet. Does that make sense? I didn't want her to speak yet because she's been thrust into this position to have to speak on the loss of her husband to the country, and I felt like she had to force certain things out because, like you said, someone's helping her write this thing and say it, and and by the way, most of the words in there were perfectly said and delivered. I just felt that for you to lose such a significant part of your life, that she should have taken another day or two to herself to mourn.
Talk to this woman in 2 or 3 years when she missed the kids and her missed 2 Christmases with him. Yeah. You know, missed birthdays with him. Yeah. Talk to her then, and then have her talk. It's going to be a different type of speech, and it's more from the heart, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't a heartfelt speech.
No, it was a heartfelt speech, but that true heartfelt will come.
Yeah. Well, you know what? They were very godly people. They lived a deep devotion to Christ. So people in that Christian walk of life are more quick to feel secure that their loved one has gone to.
Yeah, you do, and I'm big into faith. You know that. Yeah. Even more after the whole experience I had, and my fiance got me into. Brought me back to the church so much more, and yes, it's true. Like when
you're wearing the cross.
I'm wearing the cross, yes. Yeah. But it still doesn't make it any easier. Yeah. You know, it just doesn't make it any easier.
So where do we go forward as a country from this? Like, what do you recommend your neighbor?
Well,
I mean, your neighbor
doesn't
agree with you. Your neighbor doesn't agree with you.
Country's in trouble right now. Yeah. It's in a lot of trouble, I believe. Yeah, it's number one. Where do we go forward? You got to start with these little things like protests in New York City when they get out of hand. When people are breaking windows, you lock them up. These universities, you know, you're getting out of hand at universities, spitting at cops, yelling in cops' faces. Little thing, we have to start doing the little things that we think are, it's okay. You got to start hammering down on them. The same thing, we were both cops, right?
Like the broken window.
Exactly.
Like the broken window.
The same thing when we were cops. And we don't agree with everything in the police department.
No.
But you have to go back to those little things. Start nabbing those little things first and build up. And you stop at these, I believe you'll stop these big things.
So just as we conclude this is just a subject matter that can go on forever. and this is not to say we're done speaking, but a lot of these things, it seems as though, and we've been made aware, and you just became aware, I think. Oh no, Menza, our other guest earlier, that people are losing their jobs now for what they said on social media. Now, is that where we need to go with this? And I'm just putting it out there as a thought. Is that, because and I'm saying this with the backdraft of guys that had any opinion that would been favorable, anyone who had a favorable post about Trump lost their work.
Well, here's my number one opinion, and people might not.
Their jobs,
people not might agree with me, and this is what I see. I believe if you're in a position of power, and I'm not saying take your freedom of speech away, but if you're a cop, a politician, you shouldn't have a social media. I believe anymore. If you're going to start putting opinions, forcing on people, if you're in a position to lock somebody up, you're a doctor to have it. But I think police officers and stuff, I said you don't have a social media anymore. These cops dressed up in their uniform, dancing on TikTok, making kissy faces, dancing around the car is a joke. It makes police. I know I get a lot of flack for this. And Dom Izzo, he says a lot. I'm a big follower of his. He sees it a lot. You get these female cops dancing around, stuff like that. That doesn't need to be on social media. You're not helping anybody. You're promoting yourself. If that's the case, quit the job and go out to Hollywood. I think that's totally bullshit.
Get OnlyFans and put a carrot in.
Or go to OnlyFans. Don't dance the uniform on. And that's why you hit the Secret Service agent. But celebrated his Trump's death. He might have been uniform Secret Service because there's different branches. Of that. But that guy should be fired. You shouldn't even have a social media. A Secret Service agent should not have a social media page.
No, I agree with that.
Should not have. Certain positions should not have it. I know you want to promote it, like politicians want to promote things, but certain people they have to say it when they hire you for the job. You cannot have a social media account. That's what I believe.
Well, you can put that in a contract. So.
Yeah, and then if you take the job, you're agreeing to that.
Right.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, it came down that from what on the third day or second or third day, over 1,000 people were fired because of their posts. At that point, I have a feeling, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to predict this because I'm a predictor, and I've been pretty close to right most of the time. You're going to see several tens of thousands of people lose their position because of what they said. I'm just telling you straight up. I could be wrong, but I'm going to tell you that not because of they. First of all, you did not lose your freedom of speech. There are just consequences sometimes to your speech. So they didn't. The government didn't come and lock you up for it. But your boss says I can't associate with this guy who wears a Yankee hat, but tells everybody that he's a Met fan.
And the other hand, people don't think. What happens? Say watch this. Trump just supported ICE doing car stops on people, right? Oh, some genius grabs the phone. Screw Trump. This, that. They don't think, right? Post.
Right.
Now this is out there. That's why people just react. The social media day and these cell phones, people react. They don't think of the consequence.
Right.
It's a reaction fast. Years ago, I didn't have this as a kid.
Right.
Thank God we didn't have it. Thank God.
Yeah.
Probably never became a cop.
Yeah. Well, Well, the bottom line is this. I believe that there's going to be a big reckoning. And I say that based on history. History has told us that if you have, remember, Zuckerberg and those guys had control of everything. During the 2020 election, I think guys would know. Even 2016, they held it the wrong way. 2020, they did. A big change took place in the country, and then when Trump overcame it all, I hate to talk about the presidencies, but I'm just going to be clear. When he overcame it, all their algorithms and beat them hands down, they all came to the trough. Every top exec in the tech world and social media world came to the trough and said, "What can we do, Mr. Trump, to make this right?" Okay, and they all did it. To a man. And why'd they do it? Because they have major power and control. But what they did was they caused people their careers. People in the industry, in the media industry, in the entertainment industry, lost their careers. They got no phone calls. I mean, you're making a living, and all of a sudden, because this country was not designed this way, Mike. I was a young man. It was dump the hump or Nixon. And that was the end of it. If Nixon won, you went to work the next day. Yeah. You didn't go, screw you Humphrey fan. You didn't hold that. Right. And today it's, oh my God, don't date that man. He likes Trump. Don't date that girl. She likes, come on.
I had a picture. I put a Trump hat on my dog, like I think 2 years ago. Do you know people that were friends of mine for years, they stopped talking to me?
This is
from
insane.
One picture with a Trump hat.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, and that's not how our country's designed. This is a republic. What's it called? A democratic republic,
right?
Where individual state is allowed to set their own boundaries and rules, and within that state, you can have Democrats and Republicans run this shit. Nothing to do with logic or reason when it comes down to this whole process. We disagree, but we come together and we make something happen. That's called the American experience, the USA, the greatest existence ever in the world, the country that has lifted the most people out of poverty in the world. We lifted billions of people out of poverty.
That's why people still want to come here.
Through our ingenuity and our capitalist system. We're still the number one place that's sought for people that want to come. But they're not going to, and unfortunately, they're not going to want to come because of some of the things that are taking place. And they're not Trumpism, because we have people that are looking to execute you if you don't agree with them. And that's not the fabric of our society.
No, not at all. So, hopefully we could change things around. Hopefully people really come to some sense, I should say.
What's it going to take, though? What?
This
is it going to be? Is it going to be one person? Yeah. I mean, it is the turning. By the way, it is a turning point.
Yeah, we're there.
But who's going to be the one on the other side to bridge the gap? It's going to take a special person on that other side, a young buck, a young, an AOC. I hate to say it, but a woman like AOC can turn this whole thing around by saying,
Not her.
Listen, Mike, it could
Right.
be her. It could be her getting on the bloody pulpit next week or this weekend and saying, I've reconsidered my thoughts, and Charlie Kirk's life was an emblematic life that any one of us should have been able to live. And now she goes on to be somebody
I think
special.
you walking out this door and get bit by a dinosaur, you have a better shot.
But do you see, but am I wrong?
You're not wrong, but I don't see that happening.
Could she be the one that could do it? Could she?
I don't think so.
No, could she?
Anything could be.
No, I'm not saying would she.
You can grow a pair of tits.
I'm saying, could she? If she got up on a soapbox this weekend and said, you know what, heartfelt, renounced everything and every thought process that she had said in the last, let's say, month, and said, you know what, Charlie Kirk really does deserve our full love and support.
I honestly think what would happen was the Democrats would find dirt on her, and come back at her, and she'd be canceled.
So you're not answering. You're really not answering the question.
I really don't.
You're being just as stubborn as the rest.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but
I didn't say
wish
it was
would
going to
happen.
I'm asking you, if she were to do it, could she change the course of history?
I don't know.
Producer,
Don't know.
what do you think? If she were to step up and do that, could she change the course of history? You believe so? Yeah. You just don't believe she'll do it.
I know she won't do it. I know she won't do it.
But you don't believe that if she took the mantle and got up there and said, we disavow all the previous sayings
No,
about...
I don't know if that's enough. No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay, well,
We're in trouble.
We have opinions.
They're in trouble.
I'm gonna shoot him on the way.
I'm going to kick him in the nuts
Yeah.
first. So.
I don't have a gun, but he does. If I can somehow manipulate it from it.
I'm a bad shot. So
And I am too, so we'll see what happens. Ryan Duck. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's really been we try to laugh every day on the show, but one thing we don't laugh about is the seriousness of losing a man like Charlie Kirk or anybody that's been assassinated for their political views or any view. In fact, all views are accepted in this world. We just don't have to like it. That's all. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. And we've had a lot of work today. We're a little bit shungad, what we call it?
Shungad.
Shungad. We're a little tired, a little...
Cheminute.
Strupiad. All right, but we love you guys, and keep tuning in, and don't forget Organized Minds, Mike and Mike, the Organized Minds.
And stay safe out there in this crazy world.
Amen.